I'm a poet. I'm a writer. I wrote my first poem, some of you heard, in the 5th grade. And I thought that's all it was going to be. I'm just going to write poems. I didn't ever think that I was going to write books or perform or travel or do anything with it. There was no Gear Up. There were no programs. There were no people like Gear Up staff where I was. I grew up and born and raised in the south side of Fort Worth, Texas. And I wrote this thing called Stretch Out. When I was looking at the definition of resilience, it was, when it says being bent or stretched. How many of you have been bent or stretched? I want y'all to tell the truth. Bent or stretched in ways that you never imagined you would be. So I was looking at my writing, and sometimes I think, even though I got 600 notes in here, sometimes I look at what I wrote and I say, that's no good. Nobody wants to hear that. But I want to take a chance with you and read something I wrote that I've never read out loud, and it's called Stretch Out. Is that all right? And in the poetry world, if you hear something you like, we snap. This is like an affirmation. All right. Y'all with me?
Yeah.
I still want to jump out there with y'all. Stretch out. There was this one time on 5th Avenue, my mama opened our 2-bedroom home to some abandoned children. Abandoned like your parents are still there, but not really. Abandoned like you think they have been swallowed up by drugs, but you don't really know what that looks like. You do know what it feels like. It feels like missing school, like matted, greasy hair, like wearing dirty clothes and torn up shoes, like they always laugh at you, like hunger, like crying, like being so angry and sad all of the time. Like when you do get to go to school, the other kids make you feel shame. They know you just came for the free lunch. Ain't no field trip money. Ain't no permission slips or lunchbox. Ain't no friends or teachers that care about you. Abandoned like having no name. Like being mad at God, if there is a God, for giving you a mama and daddy like them. Abandoned like that. Like these kids were living in an abandoned house down the street from us. There were 3 of them, young half-breed kids like they used to call us. 2 sisters, 1 brother, and 5 of us, plus my mom and daddy. How many is that? Them 3 and us 7, that make 10. 10 living, breathing bodies in a 2-bedroom apartment on 5th Avenue. There has got to be something holy about that. 10 and 2 bedrooms make 12. Try it. My mama made room. She brought them babies in, said something about their parents was grown. They couldn't come in, but them babies could. As a grown woman now writing this story, this whatever this is, I call them babies because I know the violin strings of my mama's heartbeat, because I know stretch. Stretch self. Stretch a loaf of bread, give us this day. Stretch out like that bologna and cheese. Stretch a pot of beans and rice. Stretch that meat and potatoes. Stretch them tortillas and refried beans. Stretch them food stamps so my babies can eat. Make it stretch. Stretch out on a pallet so these babies can sleep. Stretch these arms. Stretch out like sacrifice, like Jesus. Somebody, anybody help me stretch out. Who lying? Is it me or you? My granny used to say. I don't know, Granny, but I'm telling the truth, I would reply. Years later, now sitting in the dark on this wooden bench, truth is I am so near cry, so near my mom and them, so near these kids whose names I cannot remember, so close I know why a mother of 5 would open my eyes, open her heart home up like a 2-bedroom apartment, so we would never know abandonment. Home is where the heart is. Feed the children in a too small space. Home is where the heart is. This is my mama. What she did, I will do.